What is up, everybody, and welcome to the All-NBA Show powered by FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet at FanDuel.com/All-NBA. I'm your host, Adam Mares, and I'm joined by my esteemed colleague, Tim Legler. Legs, how you doing? You're in Los Angeles now for the game tonight?
I'm in LA, yeah. Looking forward to Victor Wembanyama in town tonight against the Lakers. So, especially considering the way Wemby played the other night against Phoenix, like by far his worst game of the year. Curious to see, how intent he is on having a massive bounce back game. Hopefully we get one of those. So yeah, I'm looking forward tonight. Wemby, Luka, Austin Reeves should be good.
Getting so many good games this year. It's great. On today's show, this should be a fun one. There were two big-time fourth-quarter comebacks, or maybe you would say fourth-quarter collapses. We'll talk about them. We're going to break both of those games down. That is, of course, the Sixers and the Bulls, the Hornets and the Pelicans. And then in the back half of the show, we're going to do a team stock report. Which team are we buying? Which team are we a little bit more skeptical of? And then we're going to do the same thing for some players in the NBA. It's almost like, Legs, a mini My Guys. I thought about the guys I'm picking today, making them my guys, but I abide by the rules. Not all of us do, but I abide by the rules.
I've never seen a bigger rule breaker than you. It's unbelievable. The fine print and the bylaws on the my guys. I got an attorney looking into it. We're gonna get to the bottom of it.
You know what? I might just take them. We'll find out. We'll see how I'm feeling when we get to that segment. But let's start with a couple of fantastic finishes. And the best one, there were two really good ones. Both of them are interesting. But the first one I want to start with, the Sixers and the Bulls. So the Bulls finished, we're really going to break down the fourth quarter of both of these games, but the Bulls finished the third quarter on a 19-8 run, which set the table for the comeback. And that crowd last night, it was in Chicago. That crowd last night was feeling it at the end of the third quarter. They came to life. You could tell they had the momentum. And then my first note, Legs, and I'll toss it to you and ask you what happened. But my first note is, one of my favorite things about the arc of a basketball team over years is the moments when you see them start to get confidence in themselves. And we saw this last year with the Bulls when they went on the run. It was almost like they had this belief of, hey, we're actually kind of good. I see that in the Bulls this year. And last night was the best example of that, when they're down 10 points in the fourth quarter, and they all just kind of had this belief that they could chip away at this thing and get the win, and that's what happened.
I don't think right now, Adam, there's a team in the NBA that is having more fun than the Chicago Bulls. And it's just permeates when you watch the game. And this team has unbelievable chemistry and belief in each other. It helps when your best player is a guy that gives it up the way Giddey does, and everything he does is so efficient. At no point, are you a teammate of Josh Giddey's and you're like thinking like, okay, here we go. He's going to do his thing for the next 5 minutes and get his own and over dribble. Everything he does is quick. If the pass is supposed to be made, it's going to be made. That encourages guys to run the floor and encourages guys to cut. And they just look like they absolutely love showing up to work every day with each other. And when you feel that way, you can do things like this, and have belief. Now we're going to get into the Sixers and their contributions to this last night. I can't wait to get into that, but I think it's good that we start with the positive in the Bulls and what they're doing right now, the way they feel. And this is one of those situations where you hit on 2 points. For this specific game, Adam, it was the last 6 minutes of the third quarter. So you kind of hit on my first point as well. If they don't do what they did at the end of the third, that's not possible in the fourth quarter. So that that happens sometimes in the second halves of NBA games. You're going to focus on that 16-4 run to close the game and how they win it. Well, what about that other run in the third quarter that a team has that allows them to be within arm's reach? So that was important. And then picking up from what happened at the end of the year last year. It really did carry into the summer. They were a below average team all year, really, until you got to the last 6 weeks of the season. And then all of a sudden they go on this heater and they go 15-5 and they're winning games improbably. Almost a couple times a week, it felt like they were winning games that you didn't expect them to win. And it just carried into this year. And now they start the year feeling the exact same way. And here you go, man. One of the really good stories in the league. Now, look, they've played 5 out of their 7 games at home. So that matters in the NBA. Get a little home cooking at the start of the year is nice, but they're 5-0 at home. So give them credit, man. And last night, that looked like a game they were not going to win. About 8-9 minutes left in the game, and they made every play down the stretch they had to, and the Sixers really contributed to handing it away.
Well, I want to go back to your point about Josh Giddey, because he's having just an unbelievable year. And last night it's 29 points, 15 rebounds, 12 assists, another triple dozen, not just triple double, but triple dozen, which tells you he's doing it easily, comfortably getting his triple doubles. And then you made a point that is one of the main points that I see with this Bulls team, which is oftentimes your team takes on the personality of your best player. Josh Giddey moves the ball. I don't think some guys move the ball, you stand around and watch them operate, and then maybe you catch the pass. He moves the ball. He makes these quick passes. He gets the ball up the floor, and everybody on that roster is playing with that sort of level of pace with the ball. They make quick decisions with it. They make the extra pass. And I credit him largely. I credit the whole team, but I credit him largely of when your top guy plays that way, it's a lot easier for everybody else to do it. And that's what I thought last night was all about. The ball was popping. They were getting open shots. And Giddey's passes, one of the things I love about good passers, his passes are off rhythm. He has this great ability to kind of pass before you anticipate it or after you anticipate it in a way where the defense is kind of waiting to see, is he going to go? Is he going to pass? He seems to always be able to know when to pass it so you can't read him to the last moment.
Well, the pass he made to win the game was incredible. Left hand wrap around, goes around Embiid, who came over to help in case he was going to shoot it at the rim. And that's a simple read for Giddey. He gets the ball, he drives down the left side of the lane, and Embiid's under the rim. Embiid's guarding Vucevic, and he was standing over in the right corner. So if you're Giddey, if you can get a step on your defender, at 6'7", like he's gonna either shoot that if Embiid doesn't commit to him, and take a runner. Probably would have been a tough shot because he's going left-handed. I don't know if he can shoot that ball with his right hand. I don't know if he's going to be able to stop and shoot a jumper. That was probably going to be some sort of a left-handed floater off the glass, right, to try to tie the game. It was going to be a very difficult shot, but Embiid is back there, and as shot blockers are prone to do, even though he's not much of a shot blocker anymore, honestly. He doesn't really play vertically at all, but he's still big, and he started to come across the lane. So now it's Giddey saying, okay, let me make this read. I'm going to wrap this ball with my left hand around Embiid's body all the way on a rope to the right corner to Vucevic, and really no ability to rotate. There was nobody in great position to rotate to him once Embiid committed. But it's an incredible find with the game on the line. That's a tough pass with your offhand wrapping it around a really big guy, and that ball traveled probably 30 feet in the air at least, right on point. And Vucevic, all he has to do, line it up and shoot it. Now you got to knock it down. You have the nerve to do it. He did, and they get a win, man. And I love the way this guy's playing right now. We've talked a lot about Giddey here early in the year, and I'm not sure he's gotten even enough credit for how great he has played to start the year. Very few guys in this league have been better than Josh Giddey to start the year.
I mean, he's honestly, if you were just making a list, it's 7 games. I know this is silly, but if you were making a list of MVP candidates, he might be he's on the list. He's on the list of guys you're putting down there because they're 6-1 and he's the motor behind it. His numbers are insane. He's almost averaging a triple double. So in the early go, that's how good he's been. And to be honest with you, is making me think they're doing this international players roster for the All-Star game this year. And when you go through the list, there's all the big names, the Luka, Shea, Giannis, Jokic. Josh Giddey at this moment, is an All-Star for sure. Well, there's a lot of time to go, but he was not one of the names that you were thinking we're going to pencil in. Larry Markkanen's having an incredible year. But Giddey playing at this level, if he is able to sustain it, that makes that international roster even more competitive because, again, he's a guy that throws his hat into the ring. I'm going to shout out a guy that I don't really like, Legs. And I always like this.
I
Well,
love the way that. I love the way you set that up.
because I want to give credit sometimes when there's a guy who I'm like skeptical of the way they play, and then they do something, that I love. It's like, hey, I want to give credit here. Patrick Williams is not my favorite guy, and he's been a frustrating player, as I've watched his career. I like the way even he is playing because he's playing really hard, first and foremost. I mean, that guy gives it his all, especially defensively. He's just physical. He's always in attack mode, even on defense. He's going hard after rebounds. And offensively, what bothers me about him is he takes a lot of plays that just really drive me nuts. It doesn't make the type of plays I think you need to make. That has been significantly less this year. So even guys like Patrick Williams, to me, are contributing on this team and have kind of taken on this team identity that they have. And that just shows you how good the connection is with the Bulls.
I love that. Yeah, Patrick Williams has been a guy that I liked early, and whatever reason, he's had a very difficult time with consistency, injuries. Give him credit, but I'm going to give a shout out to another guy that I it's not like I don't like him. He's never really been on my radar at all. And you talk about production. How about Jalen Smith, what he's doing for Chicago right now? You're talking about a guy that right now he's playing 14 minutes a game, and he's averaging basically 10 and 5 in 14 minutes. And he's had, I think, 4 double-figure games or something like that in the last 5 in fairly limited minutes. But so this is a guy now that's very comfortable with his role. He's getting to the point where now you expect Jalen Smith to contribute, not anymore like, oh, wow, we got 10 points out of Jalen Smith tonight, and then you don't hear about him for 3 weeks. He's now it's becoming a part where they're expecting this out of him. And again, you can't pound this point home enough. The reason that you can go up and down their roster and talk about the positive contributions of all their guys, the reason is because of the connection ability of Josh Giddey. That is, to me, the center point of their entire team. Josh Giddey makes you want to play a certain way offensively because you're going to be rewarded and you feel included. That's the best thing you can say about a guy that's, and I don't know, are you using the word star for Josh Giddey? Like, how do you describe him, man? Because we use all the terms for these guys in the league, right? You've got superstars, right? That's a very short list, limited list. And you've got stars, which is right below that. Those are guys that typically are like perennial all-stars, potentially all league in given years, and really produce every night, but not quite in a level of a superstar. Then you've got, I think the next category is like all-star ability. Like maybe at some point the guy will play in a couple of all-star games, or like that's the next level. And then below that, you've got role players. I mean, those are really the 4 tiers. And where is Josh Giddey?
I mean, it's tough. The way you said it is a little bit different than how I would put it, but I think by yours, it would be like all-star potential, which I think he's on pace to have that, as I just said. But star almost has this connotation of like highlights mixed with impact or what have you. I just think he's a great engine, man. I would want him on my team because when he's on the floor, you're going to generate good offense. And part of what happened in this game, Legs, we'll get over to the Sixers here in a second. The Sixers missed a bunch of shots. Well, if you can get Giddey the ball in transition, that's where he's at his best. Is you almost can't get back quick enough for him not to be able to find the seam and then create good offense. So I don't know. So a star, I mean, sure, why not? I'll call him a star.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing himself into that. I mean, I don't know if he's quite there yet, but if he keeps this up, for the first couple months of the season, and this is becoming a regular thing with Josh Giddey, I think you can use that word for him because of how much the other thing about being a star, how much better he's making everybody on his team. I mean, that we use that terminology all the time and that definition for a guy. But does he make other guys better? Like we say that all the time about guys that get their own and put up numbers. He does. I mean, you talk about like basically right now, the definition of making your team better. That's kind of what Josh Giddey is doing right now. Bulls are a great story, man. They're fun. I like if they're playing now, like I got to watch the Bulls because of how much it looks like they enjoy doing what they're doing every night. So, I'm all for that. Give him credit. And Billy Donovan's a really, really, really smart coach. He was a guy in Oklahoma City I always thought was smart, but I also felt like he didn't really have, maybe even in his own mind, the cachet to really lay down the law on how that team was supposed to play offensively in the fourth quarter of games. I felt like he was a spectator to those guys in Oklahoma City a lot of nights. And I had problems with that. And I called him out for that. It's not like I didn't think he knew the game or was a great coach. This is different. Like, he's got his fingerprints all over this team. And he's got guys that are probably, he feels like, much more receptive to how he wants to do things in certain instances. And because he's definitely smart enough to do that. So I'm happy for him too. Getting some love, and the Bulls clearly one of the best stories here over the first 2 weeks of the season.
Well, through 2 weeks, I think the Bulls know their identity about as well as any team in the NBA knows their identity, which is to say it's still going to concretize over time, but they really know how they want to play night to night. And that brings us to the 76ers, because as much as this was a great comeback, Legs, it takes two when you have this 24-point comeback. And the Sixers, I thought, looked as much in the fourth quarter, at least, like a team that doesn't quite know what their identity is yet. And they just really struggled. I mean, some of this was just missed shots, right? And sometimes you always have to just look at it and say, well, they had looks and they didn't make them, and one more make, they would have won this game. But I also, one of my big questions is this Maxey, Edgecombe, Grimes, Oubre, spread it out, everybody attack. I love that, and I buy that about the 76ers. Embiid trying to get back to what he was and working his way into it. Those two things sometimes clash, and I thought last night in the final 5-6 minutes, is almost like the team, well, we'll just give it to Embiid. We'll let him see. Okay, maybe we'll try to do this. It looked like a team that didn't know consistently, possession by possession, who they are and how they get over the hump in a close game.
I'll take it a step further. Okay. So and this isn't the first time I've seen this in the Sixers, and this is their dilemma right now. You've got a guy in Joel Embiid who's on a minutes restriction. He's going to play certain stretches of the game. When he's out there, they still want to try to run everything through him. Okay. In the minutes that he plays. Some of that you say, okay, that makes sense. If he's only going to play 20 to 25 minutes, then you got to give him the ball when he's on the floor. He's still a dominant offensive player. Problem is, you've got this backcourt that's been electric. You've got Tyrese Maxey, who's played as well as anybody in this league offensively to start the year. Last night was a perfect example of this team playing a certain way. Maxey made that game his. Okay. And now if you ride that the rest of the way, they're going to win the game. You can't play worse in the fourth quarter of a game for himself by his own standards than Joel Embiid did in that game. And when he came back into the game in the fourth quarter, it was touch after touch after touch after touch. Everything slowed down. The pace went away. Embiid operated. And look, are they all makeable shots? If you went back and strung all those misses together in the fourth quarter for Embiid, you go, wow, yeah, these are great shots for him. The problem is, it got away from like what they were doing very well on that given night. And it's not the first time I've seen that this year. They accommodate to Joel Embiid, right? They acquiesce to him when he comes back into the game. It affects their rhythm and pace. It affects the nights that other guys are having. And look, if he makes those shots and they win the game by 10, you're probably not talking about this today. Problem is, he's going to have nights on a minutes restriction where he doesn't find his rhythm when he comes back into the game at that time. And you could almost see, I felt like they were a little bit deflated collectively that they were playing that way in the fourth quarter. Like, oh, he's back on the court. And Maxey would never say this. Obviously, Edgecombe's a rookie, would never say it. Quentin Grimes doesn't have that sort of leverage in this league to say it, or Kelly Oubre. But I'm telling you, man, the body language, it was just like, it was deflated. Now we're just going to play this way? Just throw it into like these 8-foot post-ups and have him shoot turnaround jumpers. And it was turnovers too. So they didn't have a field goal for the last 6.5 minutes of the game or something like that.
Yep. 6:26.
Not a single field goal. And it was because they were running their offense through a guy that didn't have rhythm at that time. Now his numbers on the night were pretty good. 26 minutes, 20 points, 4 blocks, 6 boards. That's a great night for most guys in this league. But the problem is you could tell he didn't have the rhythm when he checked back in the game, Adam, and they just kept going to it. Empty trip after empty trip after empty trip. It allowed the Bulls to have enough time and enough possessions to pull this comeback off.
And it's almost not even his fault, in my opinion. Like, this is the thing the Sixers are going to now have to work through is I think they have a winning identity with all of the dribble drive guys they have on the team who are just so quick and can score. Maxey is first on that list, but Edgecombe, Grimes, even Kelly Oubre, they have guys that can do this. You get Jared McCain back last night. He plays 15 minutes. You have a lot of guys, and it's hard. A lot of teams don't have guys who can contain one-on-one across 3-4 positions. Like, you're going to have somebody's going to be vulnerable, and they have the bodies to attack it. And Embiid becomes the counterweight to that, the counterpunch of, well, we also have Embiid, and you can stretch the court with him. You can screen with him. You can create switches and seams, but finding the right balance of, hey, we're really good at that. And Embiid is probably going to be really good throughout the course of the season when he gets his legs under him at what he used to do. But what's the line of that balance is going to be a battle. And I'm not sure they're going to find the right balance, but if they do, I actually think the Sixers will be very good.
Well, let me ask you a question. How many teams in the league, Adam, can you think of that you say to yourself, when this guy's on the floor, they're going to play this way?
Yeah.
But the rest of the time, they're going to play this way.
It's hard.
How many teams can you say that about? None of them. Look at all the great players in this league. They don't change. They're completely changed their style when that guy's off the floor. And when it comes back on, it all becomes about that guy again. Not good teams. So that's the dilemma they're going to have. I think they're going to have it all year. When they play fast, and those four guys, and I'm going to include Oubre in that mix with Grimes and the backcourt, when those four guys are playing with that level, it almost looks like a track team and a relay race. That's how fast they can get up the floor, move it, quickly attack, quick decisions. Maxey is as accomplished a scorer as just about anybody in this league. He's just really difficult to keep in front, unlimited shooting range. The guy can just flat out score easily. Oh, well, now here comes Embiid onto the floor. All right, here's what we're going to do now. Now we're going to play this way for the next 8 minutes. I just don't know if that is something that ultimately is going to work. Now, look, does eventually Embiid second half of the year back playing 32, 33, 34 minutes a night? I don't know. And if that's the case, do they adopt more of that style? It's more about him. I don't know if that's the best thing for this team. It's a tough one, man, because the guy's so talented. He's an MVP, and he can still score practically blindfolded. But last night, he took 21 shots in 26 minutes. He was 7 for 21. And all of those shots are the half court coming to a complete halt so he can get the ball and do his thing. Right. And I just don't know if that's the best way that this team should play going forward. So I don't know what the solution is. He's on your roster. You owe him a lot of money. He's not the same player that he was. And what I mean by that is to do it for over 35 minutes a night. He looks that way certain stretches. Play 20 minutes, man. Some nights he's always dominant. So that way he looks the same. That's not the same as what he used to be. Do it for 34, 35 minutes. Can't do that anymore. So now how does that affect your team? They're going to be a team I'm going to be watching for this topic.
Me too.
All year long, man.
Well, I have a take on them a little bit later in the show when we do buy and sell. So I'll just tease it with that. And we got to move on here to our other comeback game, which is, of course, the Pelicans, or I should say Derik Queen's Pelicans, coming back on the LaMelo-less Charlotte Hornets to the tune of a 29-19 fourth quarter. They got the win 116-112, and they went ahead on Jose Alvarado's three-pointer. They went with the lineup. Like, they made this comeback in the fourth legs with the lineup that they had in, which included Derik Queen, and they just stuck with it. And he had a monster fourth quarter, put up a crazy stat line just in the fourth quarter, 12.7 rebounds, 4 assists. I believe it was 4 assists. Maybe it was 4 steals. 4 assists.
4 steals.
So
he had 4 steals.
4 steals. There it is.
7 assists on the night.
7 assists for the game. 12, 8, and 7 on the game, but I believe it was 12, 7, and 4 just in the fourth quarter alone.
Yeah.
And he was interesting. Really, to me, it's all about that note is about Derik Queen, because this is the first I watched him play against Denver. Was very disappointed. Watched him play tonight or in this game, and he looked really good.
He's got a lot of skill. He's an interesting guy because I agree with you about like the Denver game and just in general, kind of watching him, and even the evaluation I was doing before the draft. I was kind of like, he's clearly got skill. I mean, he's got really soft hands. He sees the floor. He's smart offensively, but he kind of lumbers a little bit. It doesn't look like at any point he's going max effort or max speed. And there are some guys that kind of look that way. It's way too early to make any sort of definitive conclusion on it. But what he showed you last night in the fourth quarter was there are going to be times when that sort of demeanor that he has and his running style and things like that don't matter. The skill matters more. And that's what happened last night because he made plays. He put the ball in the basket. He made the right finds. He was on the floor during that run. And he and Alvarado were really the two most important players down the stretch.
Well, I think you hit on the thing that is going to make him hard to evaluate, which is that he just looks like lazy, and I don't think he is. It's your point that
Yeah.
sometimes some guys just have a smoothness to the way they move, and it almost looks like he's jogging, but it's effective because he has incredible footwork. He's really skilled with, just like for a big man, he kind of plays with really good footwork, and then he has incredible hands. I mean, he caught some loose balls, some rebounds, and some tough passes yesterday that where the ball just stuck to his hand. And so he has that kind of talent, but he plays in the slow motion. And you mentioned the reads. He had some nice passes and he had some reads. I think his skill level will even allow for him, as the game slows down for him and he sees the court better. I could see him being a very good passer. I thought he even missed some reads in this game where I was like, man, but he's seeing it just a half step late. So I was impressed with that, even if his motor is going to be something that I'm always questioning just because of the way he moves.
I mean, listen, he's listed as a center. How many centers are going to play 18 minutes off the bench and give you 7 assists?
Yeah.
You don't see those kind of stat lines. So he's got a feel for the game. That's for sure. I'm going to be, very interested to see like his progression throughout the year. It's got to feel good for him to be part of that last night. And look, for Charlotte, they're shorthanded, but man, even this early in the year, what a difference it makes to be 4-4 as opposed to 3-5.
Ooh, yeah.
Right? It just does. Like, oh, we're 500, 8 games in. Like, you're feeling good about it. Charlotte is a team that those people are looking to get 25, 30 wins. All right, maybe low 30s. So you're 500 early in the year. You're feeling pretty good about yourself. Now it's like, okay, now we're back 2 games below 5. We got to dig our way. We got to win 2 now to get back to 500. It is a big difference. And this is a game they should have closed out. And they weren't able to do it. Now, one thing, having said that, let's give Alvarado all the credit in the world. He's not a guy that's particularly known for his three-point shooting. He made 2 enormous threes in this game. Dagger shots that, you can't really account for if you're Charlotte. Like, you're not expecting that going in. And Alvarado pulling up to take those shots late in the game with the game on the line. Go ahead. Like, you'll live with it if you're Charlotte. Give him credit because he stepped up and he knocked them both down. And, he got a lot of help. Trey Murphy was great in the game. But Alvarado and Queen were the 2 stories for this team in the fourth quarter.
If you're going to write a bench lineup to close just because the game was over and you're just going to let the bench unit go, Alvarado's like the best possible guy for that. I mean, he like that's his bread and butter. Like, okay, they're running with the hustle group and I get to go out there and just kind of fly around and try to make big time shots. And he hit the go ahead basket, which was was pretty impressive.
You're so right. Listen, he's one of those guys that sits there. I think you're right. And he just is going, please get down 10. Please get down 10. Because he's one of those guys. Like, he loves checking into the game and it's like nothing to lose. Just turn him loose, exactly. Right? Reckless abandon and go be an irritant and a pest. And he's one of those guys. And I talk about this all the time. And there's not that many in the league, I feel like, bench players that what they do in terms of anything that checks one of the columns in a stat sheet, it's worth more than that because of the way they react to him, right? Yeah. I've mentioned Bobby Portis is a guy like that. Like, what he does at home is worth more than just that one shot he just made or that one block, because Naz Reid's like that for whatever reason. Like, the crowd just loves that guy. Alvarado's one of those guys. And that's why you fall behind 10, 15. He's going to be part of that group. There we go. Let's put this mercenary group in the game. And Alvarado's going to be the guy leading the way, man. He did it again last night. He's a fun player because he plays so hard. He gives you everything he has.
And he was coaching on the floor last night. I mean, he was very verbal in Derik Queen's ear as they were making that run. You could tell he was hyping him up. Like, hey, man, here it is. This is your moment. Take advantage of it. It was cool to see. All right, let's take a break. But on the other side, we're going to do a quick little stock report on some teams and players that we are buying stock in early part of the season. I'm really excited for the players portion of this. I got some names for you, Legs. We'll get to that on the other side. But first, FanDuel, NBA tip-off, and FanDuel is your home for live betting. So even if you missed the start of a game and want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. You could have won some good money on 2 fourth quarter comebacks last night. Plus, you could even combine live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. However you want to play, now is the perfect time to join because FanDuel is giving the new customers $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just head to fanduel.com/allNBA to sign up today. Play your game with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. Must be 21 or older and present in select states. For Kansas in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 plus and present in D.C. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. You know the moment, the one where you realize you left your favorite pair of sunglasses at the beach or on the roof of your car or at a gas station 3 states away. We've all been there. I've been there too. But then I found Shady Rays and it changed the game. These sunglasses are made for real life. They're seriously good looking, polarized, durable, and not stupidly expensive. They have a wide selection, like hundreds to choose from in multiple colors and styles. And here's the wild part. If you lose or break them, even on day one, Shady Rays will send you a brand new pair. No guilt trip, just replacements. So now you can actually wear your sunglasses without fear on hikes, at concerts, on the boat, wherever. Shady Rays is eyewear that has your back. We've teamed up with Shady Rays to bring an exclusive offer. Head to shadyrays.com and use our code AC35. It's very important. AC35 for 35% off of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself. The shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. All right, back here, segment 2 of the All-NBA show. Make sure you hit that like button, everybody. Make sure you're subscribed so you never miss the shows here. Legs, let's do a little stock report, and let's talk about teams we are buying and teams we are selling. I'll let you go first here. What is a team that through 7 games you are buying that they are better than they were expected to be 2 weeks ago?
And this is a team, and it's funny because people, fan base of this particular team come at me sometimes because they insist that I've got some sort of a, which I don't have
agenda.
Adam, we've been doing this now for 2+ years.
Yeah.
Can you can be my witness? Do you see me as a guy in any way that has a personal agenda about anything? Like any player, any team?
Yeah, you just hate the Nuggets, man. That's
other than
clearly,
exactly.
Just because of me, you hate the Nuggets. But other than that, yeah.
But anyway, so this team, I'm going to give them some love, man, because beginning of the year, I kind of dismissed them as, well, okay, you're not going to probably need to be watching them too much this year. And I'm not saying it's not going to end up there. We'll see. Yeah. But I'm a big believer in this. You got to give some of these teams love when they deserve it, because you don't know how long it's going to last. Right. But I'm going to say this: the Toronto Raptors,
love it,
sitting here at 4-4. With their schedule to this point, when I looked at them at the beginning of the year, number one, I don't necessarily love their roster. Right? There's not guys that I just go, oh man, I love that guy. I love the way he plays. I got to watch this guy play. I don't really feel that way overall about the roster. That's a big part of why I kind of felt that way about them before the year. But I'm giving them credit because, number one, they start the year, to go into Atlanta and roll them and put up 138 opening night in Atlanta, a team that got a lot of talk over the summer, how improved they were. They put up 138 on them. That's kind of like an eyebrow raiser, like, oh, wow, okay. Then they lose 4 in a row.
Tough
and then
games,
now
though.
they've won 3. Now they won 3 in a row. But look at the schedule, Adam. Atlanta, Milwaukee, Dallas, San
they should have won,
Antonio. Yeah, Dallas, San Antonio, Houston, Cleveland, Memphis, Milwaukee. I mean, that's about as tough as a schedule to start the year as any team in this league. And here they are sitting here 4-4. And the most important thing is putting up numbers. Like, this team can flat out score. And that's the thing I was really questioning about them. I thought, defensively, they're going to compete. And they got a guy like Scotty Barnes who's going to make up for some things defensively because he's that good defensively. But I'm like, they're going to be inefficient. It's going to be bad shooting nights. This team is putting up numbers, including 128 on the Bucks the other night. And so Brandon Ingram has played really well. Yeah, hopefully he can stay healthy for them. RJ Barrett, Scotty Barnes, quickly, like, that wasn't a group that jumped off to me as being a flow offensively. They're playing really well offensively. They're 500. Their schedule's been brutal, and they're riding a 3-game winning streak right now. So I'm going to give Toronto credit. I think they're going to end up with a better record than I anticipated at the start of the year.
I do like their roster. They were one of the teams I liked coming into it. Mamu easily could have made my list of players I'm buying off the bench. I went with a different one, maybe from the Raptors. We'll get to that in a second. But I think they just have a lot of guys. I mean, part of what I looked at coming into the year was all these teams pressuring up full court a little bit more, turning the intensity up and using a deeper rotation. And they were one of the teams I thought was going to be able to do that. They play 10 guys last night, basically in their main rotation. And they're a team. I actually buy it. I'm with you. They're a 4-4 team. I think they're a good bad team. Like, not a team that we think is good, but for the teams that are below it, they're very good in that category. So I like
three guys averaging 20 points a night. I mean, that's very, very difficult to do in this league, particularly when all three of those guys are shooting over 50% from the field. You can't get much more efficient than that.
And they have two guys off the bench I absolutely love. One of them is Mamu, who had 15.7 rebounds last night. He's just a fun player. He was a plus 28. He's kind of a beast. Easily could have been my shout out, but I have a different one we'll circle back to when we get to the player section. My team, we talked about them already, so I'm going to be quick here, and I might be an idiot here, Legs. I just really believe in the Sixers' backcourt and all of the guys they have, and adding Jaron McCain. I look at that and I say they have a winning formula. They just have to answer the Embiid question. And maybe I'm being foolish here and thinking that it will work out this way, but I think it will in the long run. I think that this team actually has something. Sometimes when you pivot away from your star player, where you're not all built around a guy like Embiid, it feels like a loss. But Maxey is worth it. Maxey is such a dynamic offensive player that it's not like you're going to some scrub or some guy, I don't know if he can handle it, but we have to adjust. It's like, no, man, Maxey is worth giving the keys to and thinking about what makes his life a little bit easier. And I just like all the pieces that they have. So I'm buying the Sixers. They collapsed last night, so it's the worst time to buy. Or maybe it's the best time to buy because their stock price fell so much overnight, Legs. But I still buy their backcourt, and I think Embiid will adjust his game over time.
I can't buy them right now because I just think they're going to struggle with some of this identity issue all year, and I think that they haven't even incorporated Paul George yet. So
I know
that's another guy that Paul George is not a guy that you just say, okay, he gets everything in the flow. Paul George is a guy that, to be effective, needs the ball. He runs a lot of ball screen. Now, he can catch and shoot, and he can play off those guys. It's great. But, I think that if particularly if their record is like really, really good and Paul George, makes his appearance in the lineup and they're affected in any way, that's a tough place to play, man, if the crowd is feeling that. So I want to see, ultimately, I'll reserve judgment till later, but I'm having a hard time buying in that this is going to be something they're going to figure out and be able to handle all year. The difference in stylistically the way they have to play when those guys are playing and when they're not, and how fun they are and how fast they are when those guys are not playing, as opposed to like a little bit more of a slog when they do. And I think that's going to be a tough thing for them to figure out and play seamlessly all year. Maxey, I agree with everything you said about him. He's a legitimate star player. He scores as easy as anybody in this league right now. It is effortless for him because of the combination of speed. He's got all these floaters. All these soft running shots he can make. And then that deep 30-foot range off the dribble. He can, and he's getting to the line this year. He's getting calls. So that's another part of his game that's improved.
All right. What about a team you're maybe selling? You think you're a little worried about them where they are right now?
Well, I guess I'd have to make the case, and I know you've been very vocal about this, and I just, for me, I'm a little bit concerned about the Orlando Magic. You've talked about this. I'm certainly not coming to a conclusion that, the Magic aren't going to be what I thought they could be. You looked at the Eastern Conference, who I thought would be at the top with the Knicks and the Cavs. They're sitting there at 6th and 7th right now. That's not going to stay that way. Bulls have been an incredible story. Philly's been off to a better start than people thought they would have. Detroit's about where they should be. Milwaukee the same. Heat have been a little bit better than I thought they would be. So the top of the East doesn't look like how I would have pegged it if I wrote down the top 10 teams in the Eastern Conference. It doesn't look anything like that. And we're so early, it might end up that way. It might not, but you can't deny that Orlando's been disappointing. And the biggest reason is this. They thought Desmond Bane was going to come in and, okay, this is all we need. This is the solution to our problems. We're the most anemic three-point shooting team in the league. We don't have enough firepower, but man, do we get after it defensively. We shut teams down. We just can't score enough Desmond Bane solves that. We're going to give up 4 first-round picks to get him. I think Desmond Bane's feeling a little bit of that pressure and expectation and like being the savior for this group because he's not shooting the ball well at all. He hasn't found a rhythm. But here's what's really most disappointing because that could turn around. That's going to take time, and it does sometimes at new players in new places. Their defense, that's what's been surprising to me. That team last year outside of Oklahoma City consistently played harder defensively than anyone I saw all year besides the Thunder. And they were second in the league in defensive rating. They're like middle of the pack. They're like, 14th, 15th in the league defensive rating right now. So they're not making you feel them defensively while they're waiting for their offense to like kind of kick in and find a flow. And as a result, you look up and they're 3-5 to start the year. Nothing close to what I expected out of the Magic. Early, we're 10% into the season. Let's see what the next 10% looks like for them.
Another team, we're talking about identity and how far along are you through 7 games. Another one that I think still has to solidify that. I'll tell you what, Magic fans, I have become Magic's enemy number 1. And what's crazy, Legs, is I love my beloved Magic.
As you should. I'm surprised you don't have Magic fans wearing placards picketing down your street because you've been overly harsh on this team.
Well, 3-5. Here they are. You're harshest on the ones that you're kind of like pulling for. That's what it was. I wasn't on the Magic. They let me down. There's a lot to be
said for that, right? Coaches are often hardest on the players they expect the most out of.
It's true. The team I went with selling is the obvious one. I just went with the Dallas Mavericks. I mean, it's early enough in the year, that anything's possible, but they have the worst offense in the NBA by a comfortable margin. They probably would need 2 good offensive games to climb to 29th. It's at a 103.6 offensive rating. And when you watch them, that's what it looks like. And that's what it feels like. This is another team with an identity crisis. And where do we play our key guys? What are we trying to accomplish on that end? Their defense has been, okay relative to how bad their offense has been. I mean, they're 8th best defensive rating in the NBA, which is nice considering you're always playing in transition defensively because you can't put the ball in the basket. I just don't think they're very good. And Klay Thompson looks rough. We already know he's had a lot of mileage under him, but then when you're asking him to create in a crowded paint or just without a lot of spacing, it's just too hard. So I think they're going to have a rough year.
Movement isn't the same for Klay. Anthony Davis he hasn't played a ton. He's under 30 minutes a game and has missed games. And then of course, Cooper Flagg, I don't think anybody's doubting whether Cooper Flagg is going to be a big time player in this league, but he's going to have a lot of inconsistency in his game offensively. He's going to play hard every night. He's going to be versatile. They've put a lot on his plate handling the ball as much as he has to handle the ball. I think that's a lot for a guy that's a number 1 pick that's trying to get his feet wet. I just think having him off the ball more would probably open up his confidence a little bit. That's a lot to think about and process for a guy that's not a natural point guard. He's handling the ball as much as a point guard. So his shooting is going to be streaky. I said that from the very beginning, no matter where they play him, it just is. His mechanics on his shot from deep in particular it's going to have a lot of those nights, and he'll probably shoot, 40% for the year. That's probably where he's going to end up, and in the low 30s, if that, from the 3-point line. So that means your offense is going to bog down. Clay's not what he was. Cooper Flagg's not. It's going to take time to get consistent every night. Anthony Davis is not what he is doing, what he's typically capable of doing. You add all that up, and this is what you get: a really bad offense. Kyrie could be, an answer down the road, but I agree with you. That's why I was shocked tonight. Charles Barkley's my boy, man, but opening night, he said this was the second best team in the Western Conference, and I didn't know where, and he was very definitive about that, and I wasn't sure where that was coming from. I didn't have him there, but I didn't have him this bad offensively, and I think that's your point. That's why you're a little bit concerned.
They look almost hopeless. It's too early to say this, but I'm worried they might be hopeless on the offensive end. Let's go to the players, though. Players buy or sell, and I'll go first so you get the final word. And I have 2 guys I'm buying here. The first one I'm so excited about. Walker Kessler on the Utah Jazz has been really good. And he was a guy that I look at as this like tall, stiff, awkward guy early in his career, block shots and rebound, and he's just going to move. He's got a little more fluidity to his game, this year where he just looks a little bit more comfortable, cutting and finishing and different things. They have him shooting 3-pointers. He had a pass the other night, a triple handoff pass. He passes it between his legs and then sets the screen. Like, he's just a little bit more confident as a guy that can do some stuff. And then, like, he's part of the number one lineup in the entire NBA. That, I don't know if you know this, the Utah Jazz starting lineup, they go with him, Lauri Markkanen, Svi Mikhailuk. They go with Kyle Filipowski, and then George. That lineup is number one in the NBA in net rating. It's almost like Utah, they don't play it enough. I think they might be worried they're going to win too many games, but they play this monster 3 7-footers lineup, and they can do it because he can shoot threes now and he can make passes.
Yeah, it's funny you make the point, like winning games is a little bit contrary to what the big plan is for the Utah Jazz, but you've got some young players playing really well. I've liked Walker Kessler the whole time. This is a little bit, he got there a little bit sooner offensively than I maybe thought he could. You're talking about a guy now that's averaging just under 15 points a game, just under 11 rebounds a game, in addition to the shot blocking he gives you, which has always been a big part of who he is. He's been great. I like that one.
Yeah. All right. What do you got? Who's your first guy you're buying?
I got two guys. I'm going to start off with Stephon Castle. And people might think, well, that's not a reach. Where the guy was the fourth pick in the draft. Yeah, but a lot of people thought that he had all kinds of limitations on his offensive game, and like he's not going to ever be a guy that's going to be capable of really putting up consistently good numbers offensively. He's going to be a specimen, and he's a physical defender, and then he'll be up and down all over the place offensively. That really hasn't been the case this year. He's been really, really good offensively, and I'm so excited to see him tonight for San Antonio in person, because what has stood out to me is he just looks so comfortable with the ball in his hands, like initiating. And that's the part that I thought was going to be the biggest struggle. You're going to get points in this league if you can run and you're athletic. He can do both of those things, and you're playing off of Wembanyama. All kinds of opportunities are going to be there for you as a slasher cutter. So, yeah, I'm not going to be surprised with the scoring numbers. It's the ball in his hands. And the stuff he's been doing, like running ball screen and like the decisions he's making with that, in addition to this like physical want to take on the challenge mentality defensively. Very impressive, man. And it's not an easy thing to go from 14 points a game in your rookie year and win Rookie of the Year to up over 20. Now, I don't know if it's going to stay there. De'Aaron Fox isn't there. I understand. So that's going to be a change. And you still have Dylan Harper, who, although now it looks like he's going to miss some time with a calf strain. They're saying multiple weeks maybe. So that Castle's not going to maybe even have an uptick in his numbers here in the short term. De'Aaron Fox is going to affect his game. I get that. But I still think the way he plays, he's going to have enough minutes in the course of the game, Adam, enough responsibility and plays to be made. Stephon Castle, I think, has a really good chance to average around 20 points a game, or maybe a bottom floor of 18, maybe something like that, while shooting over 50% from the field. 34 now from the three is respectable. Love to see that get up to around 38. If he can do that, and in addition to the defense, you got a player on your hands.
Well, he's getting to the line almost 8 times a game as well, but he's only shooting 63% from the line. So there's even points on the board, for areas for his game to improve. But 26 and 5 is not easy to do in this league. 6 rebounds, 5 assists. He's actually north of both of those numbers. That's a tough thing to do, and to do it as a sophomore player, very impressive, and a big part of why the Spurs are so good. The next guy I went with is a Toronto Raptor, Jamal Shead, who I just love this guy's game. I liked him out of college because I just thought he was tough. Like defensively, he's one of those guys when he's full court pressing, you're a ball handler, you're nervous the whole time. But this year his playmaking has been up. He's actually been passing the ball extremely well, not turning it over, and just scoring and finishing. A lot of the shots that he has been getting, he's finishing them this year. So I like all of it. He's a big part of their offensive, like what they're capable of doing on offense. And he's just one of those guys I watch that say, you know what, I'm buying stock in this guy. I was thinking about it, but he's basically my guy at this point.
Well, you can't, that's the thing. You can't say basically your guy. I understand what you're doing. If that's the preface for claiming him later, get that off the screen right now. That's laying the foundation to claim him later, but you're not.
This is what you did to me with Terrence Shannon Jr. This is what you did.
It's passive aggressive. But you're not really ready to claim him now because it could go south on you. So all you're doing is laying laying the foundation to claim him later. I get it. It's smart. It's a very smart play, but I ain't letting it happen. I'm not letting it fly. He is very much open to be grabbed at some point later on. Here's what I'll say about him. I loved him as a college player. Didn't know exactly what he was going to be at the NBA level, other than, okay, this guy could be a backup guard for 15 minutes. If nothing else, really be somebody that can pressure the ball and change the game a little bit that way and eat up some minutes. He is street tough. He's ready for a rock fight. That's the program he came from. No shock. He was an older guy when he came out, so he's got some seasoning on his game. And now, look, he's playing 17 minutes a night, man. Regular minutes on a team that we just both said, I think, has overachieved to this point in the year. It's a really tough schedule out of the gate. They're sitting here at 500, and he's been a part of that. I'm happy for him.
Yep. All right, who's your last guy?
Last guy is Ryan Rollins from Milwaukee. I just, man, you talk about a guy looking comfortable. He has a smoothness about his game and an overt confidence about his game. It's very impressive because you think about, like, the opportunity wasn't really there before, and it's there now in a big way. And some guys in that situation, they'll play too fast. They'll make bad decisions because they're trying to make everything happen. And he's the opposite. He actually is able to dial back the RPMs and play with a speed that allows him to see everything. And it's just happening for him very naturally. He's been a godsend for the Milwaukee Bucks. And now I'm looking at him totally different in terms of what I think his ceiling could be. What a tremendous find for the Bucks, because I think he's got he's going to have a great year, and he's got a really, really bright future.
We broke him down on Friday's show, me and Jason Tim, because he had that huge game, last week, really kind of started to break out last week. He's so smooth with the basketball. He gets to his spots very smoothly. He finishes. He has great finishing moves, and he just has great footwork. I mean, he makes the game look really easy because he has good footwork. So when he's playing in the pick and roll or just playing attacking the basket, he seems to always get to his size. We comped him. I was thinking when I watch him play, CJ McCollum and Devin Booker are two guys he kind of looks like to me. Do you have a comp, that you're watching him that you think, hey, he kind of reminds me of this guy?
Man, that's a good one. No, I haven't got there yet with him. I've got to watch him more. It's hard this early in the year when you're trying to see all these teams. I've seen 2 of their games in total, and I watched some other highlights. Yeah. I want to see him a little bit more, and have that come to me. What's obvious to me right now is it's fun to watch a young player sort of grab the confidence of the veterans on his own team, including his star. Because what he did the other night, they win that game without Giannis. And he was basically his game. Yeah. It was, and you could just see the way Giannis is reacting to him. It's just a great thing when the vets go, man, okay, we got one here that maybe we didn't even know we had. He's got a chance to be really, really something in this league. And what a start to the year for him. I think it has set up his entire season.
All right, let's round out the show today, Legs, by looking at our FanDuel Duels of the Night. This is, of course, presented by FanDuel. You can sign up, use that code ALLNBA. You get $150 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet. These are the Duels of the Night tonight. There's some good ones on tonight. We'll start Spurs at Lakers. This is the game you're calling, so you're going to be on the broadcast here. I know you're looking forward to Wemby.
Yeah, can't wait. I mean, I saw him once last year in person, and it was his worst game of the season. He had 6 points. He didn't shoot the ball. He didn't take a shot in the second half of that game against Oklahoma City last year. The game got out of hand. Pop was screaming at him. It was like everything went wrong for the guy. So I feel like to this point, I really still can't say I've seen him in person because of what that looked like that night. And he, like I just said, he really struggled against Phoenix the other night, badly. And now let's see what he's got for the Lakers. Lakers played really, really well. They've been one of the really good stories in this league with how well they have played. So yeah, that's my game tonight, and I can't wait for the call.
Bring it back up there, James, if you can, because we have a couple other ones here. Thunder at Blazers, I think, will be another good game. You see OKC's favored by 4.5. Blazers have been getting people, though. Warriors at Kings are always classics. Wolves at Knicks could be an interesting one. And then you have some games for sickos only. Pelicans at Mavs. That's for true diehards right there.
Yeah, no doubt.
What do we got? Super chats, James? We got a couple of them. Christoph tells us, had to super chat after getting best new nickname. It's me, Chris Zerbiak, your guy, top of list. All right. Can I decipher? What does this mean? I don't know. David Myers says, Ari Legs' recent visit to KC. What is link between KC Royals and Sacramento Kings? Rochester Royals moved to Cincinnati, then KC, but KC already had Royals, so changed its name to the Kings. Did you know that?
There you go. A little history there. I knew some of that.
Rochester Royals. Huh,
I'd have
KC
to read
Royals?
that 5 times to know if I knew all of that, but I knew some of that.
There we go. Hit that outro music for us, James. Everybody, we appreciate you tuning in all week long with these shows. We do have Jason Timp back on Friday, and of course Mark Stein over the weekend, as we always do. But Legs, have fun out in LA. Enjoy the rest of your week. Everybody else,
We'll do, man. We'll do.
Everybody else, we'll see you guys next time.
All silly like the mayor.